In this 25th anniversary year of September 11th, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation continues to honor America's heroes. Heroes like Fire Lieutenant Michael Wells, who was inspired by 9/11 to serve his community. After 14 dedicated years of service, he lost his battle with occupational cancer, leaving behind his wife, Katie, and their 3 children. Tunnel to Towers honored Lieutenant Wells by paying off the family's mortgage in recognition of his sacrifices. Donate $11 monthly and amplify your impact with a car or land donation. Go to T2T.org.
Reese Witherspoon here, checking into my favorite hotel in Paris. Bonjour.
Bonjour.
I'm traveling with my Wells Fargo Autograph Journey card, so I earn rewards wherever I book travel. 5 times points with hotels, 4 times with airlines, 3 times on restaurants and other travel, and 1 point on other purchases. Phew, that was a lot. I need to lie down. Is the room ready?
Visit wellsfargo.com/autograph journey. Terms apply.
In the squadron, they called him Bullets, but we call him Greg Kelly. Greg Kelly is on the air
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Oh, man. My hair's getting gray. I don't like it. It doesn't look gray when I look in the mirror, but I see a picture from the side and it's gray. I guess it happens. But I don't have to let it happen. After all, President Trump, we know that's not his natural color. It's interesting. Nobody ever talks about the color of his hair. They do talk a lot about the haircut, the way it's presented. It's very elaborate, but never the hair color. And that hair color is, hey, I don't blame it. I don't blame him. I'm actually considering the same thing. Why not? It's interesting how he's kind of ageless. Nobody considers him old. Maybe you do, but I don't see him that way. Hey, real quick, the people who climbed the top of the Empire State Building there, I guess they are engaged. Angela Nicolau, 33, and her boyfriend or fiancé, Ivan. And they live in New Jersey, and they went to the top of that damn thing. They did get arrested, but they're already out of jail. I heard Philippe Petit. I'm sorry, but his name comes to mind. And he is very, very... Philippe Petit, the guy who did the tightrope walk in 1974. Man on Wire. You should watch that movie. It's a documentary. It's absolutely beautiful. My mother cried. It's a beautiful movie about how he did that, why he did it. The how is amazing. They had to get all this crazy cable up there. They snuck up there, his whole team. And he did it. He's an artist, that man, Philippe Petit. These two, according to Philippe Petit, are basically vandals, all right? And they didn't do anything that special. They climbed a ladder. It's not like they... so what did they get charged with? Misdemeanor counts of possession of burglary tools, trespass, and criminal tampering. They also got nailed with burglary, reckless endangerment, and criminal mischief. Criminal mischief doesn't sound like that big a deal, right? Somehow it doesn't sound like that big a deal. No, it's a big deal. It's a felony. And they're all smiles. They only spent a couple of hours, it looks like, in custody. Anyway, nice-looking people, and we'll see what happens to them. President Trump in North Dakota. Did you see all those horses and ponies and the Teddy Roosevelt thing? It's very cool. He's going to be back in South Dakota, another Dakota, tomorrow for the big speech for July 4th. Now, the last time he gave a speech on July 4th that I remember, probably gives one every year, but the one that I remember was 2020 in Mount Rushmore. And I have told probably hundreds of people, I've shared it with you, but in my own personal life, meeting people, whenever I meet somebody who doesn't like Trump, I say, you got to look at this speech. It's very special. And I think every American could get behind this message. And I still think that before President Trump leaves office, he's going to have 90%, 95% public approval rating. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I do believe it's going to happen. Here's a big chunk of his speech yesterday. And the prompter goes down mid-speech. And that happens sometimes. Yeah, when he was running for president, he often didn't use a prompter. And that's one of the reasons why the people liked him so much. Okay, do me a favor, Carlos. Hit that, please.
Preceded really by a man who was he was the tariff king, William McKinley. He was the president, and They took his name off Mount McKinley, and I put it back on because it deserved it. Put it back on. But McKinley actually, and he was assassinated, but he made tremendous amounts of money, made our country very rich. And then Teddy Roosevelt, as the vice president, got in, and he did some incredible things. But one of them, I think one of the most amazing, maybe a lot of people would say the parks, you could say a lot of different elements of his success, so incredible. But he built the Panama Canal. It was the most expensive project to this date, if you bring the dollars forward, ever built in history. 38,000 people died. They died 95% from mosquitoes, malaria, 95%. You expected almost to die. They paid workers from the United States. Mostly they came in, and mostly, I must say, men. It was a little different time. Today would have men and women, but they had all men. And they paid them massive amounts of money, more than they were making as workers in the United States. Such a fascinating thing, the Panama Canal. I've studied it long and hard, and when they gave it away, $1. But they died from the mosquito, and they died from the snake. They have a viper, a snake, that if you get bit, you're in trouble. If you get bit, you were dead. You were dead, and that wiped out about 5%. We lost 38,000 people building the Panama Canal, our people. 38,000 people died building the Panama Canal. It opened, and from day one, it was very successful. And we gave it away. We gave it away. It was the most expensive thing we ever built, and it was also the most profitable thing we ever built. That's a nice combination. A little bit like Venezuela. We did a good job in Venezuela. And we're actually doing equally as well with the Islamic Republic of Iran. Maybe you've heard of it. But think of it, the Panama Canal, so we gave it away. The first thing they did, you know what they did? They raised the prices for the ships by 4 times, and they didn't lose one ship. And then they raised it again twice, and they didn't lose one ship. All they did is make tremendous amounts of money for years and years. How stupid was that? And now China is trying to take over the Panama Canal, and we're not going to let that happen, okay? And that was not part of the script, because I don't really have a script, because this thing doesn't work. It's appropriate. The one on my right is slightly better than the one on my left. The one on my left is a waste of time. It's a little like politics. The one on my right is a little bit. It's not great. I'd give it about a 2 on the scale of 10. And this afternoon, I'm pleased to announce that through the...
So all that, no teleprompter, and it's rich. It's rich. It's interesting. It's a tour, really, of American history. This Panama Canal thing is no joke, though. China's ambition. That's why we've been going down there, having negotiations. We're either going to buy it back or we're going to take it back. All right. Jimmy Carter. I remember that well. It was very controversial. We had to come up with a treaty, and the Senate actually signed off on it. It was the Panama Canal Treaty under Jimmy Carter. Hey, this is brand new. I don't know how I feel about it. Tucker Carlson, who broke with Trump, plans to help build a third party. He wants to start a third party. He left the Republican Party. He said this in an interview to the Columbia Journalism Review. There should be a good faith effort to figure out what benefits the country, he said. He outlined his plans at a moment of upheaval for both parties. That's kind of fair to say. Mr. Carlson, podcaster, formerly of Fox News, did say he was leaving the party last month, and Iran was his big, he was so upset about Iran. Look, he's a provocateur. He's also very smart, and he's very nice. He can do his own thing. I don't think he's an anti-Semite. I can't control people who they see and not see. Hey, Nick Fuentes, I don't have any need for that bastard. I saw that podcast. I saw him say racist comments to Usha Vance. I heard that. I don't ever need to see this guy again. I don't know if everybody knows what I know. I don't even know if Tucker knows that. I know that President Trump doesn't know that. You know, if we're going to cancel Tucker because he had a podcast with Nick Fuentes, well, President Trump had dinner with the guy. I don't fault either of them, especially President Trump. He came in with Kanye. Kanye West is the biggest celebrity, you know, one of the biggest celebrities ever. Taylor Swift. I mean, yes and no. There's still people who don't know who these people are. You know, I mean, there are certain people who they've heard the name Taylor Swift, but they have no anything beyond that. Whereas 50 years ago, everybody knew Elvis, right? Everybody knew him. They heard his music. It was different. Hey, this is great. Now, two things. Not that I'm old at all. I don't feel old. And I don't like to talk about age, period. And it's actually unrelated to age. But a doctor friend of mine recommended, and also Jay Jackson said that learning a language from Abacus, learning a language is great for the mind, great for the brain. And especially as you get older, it's a way to kind of combat the onset of dementia or anything along those lines. And so I'm probably going to go with Spanish and French because my girls speak both. And as proof, we had the babysitter. The babysitter loves the girls so much. We were on vacation last week, and they call her. They wanted to talk to Janet, or as they call her, Jaja. And in this beautiful sequence, you can hear my girls speaking a foreign tongue known as Spanish. Perhaps you've heard of it. Do me a favor, Carlos. Go ahead with that, please.
Jaja.
She's on the
phone.
Estoy en el doctor, mi amor. Estoy en el doctor.
¿Por qué?
Porque tengo chequeo. A ver cómo estoy, mi amor.
¿Tú estás esperando o tú estás haciendo?
No, estoy esperando que el doctor me llame. ¿Y tú estás bien, mi amor? Ok, mi amor, cuídate mucho. Haz caso de lo que la mami diga.
Tell Shasha what you're doing every day.
Yeah.
La
camp.
¿Qué? Oh, se fue al campo.
¿Qué
Está yendo al campo. Qué lindo, mi amor, qué lindo. Me alegro, mi amor. Disfruta, mi amor, disfruta mucho.
Madeline, what do you want to say to Janet?
Shasha.
Sí, mi amor.
Mi mamá compró una cosa que yo fui con mi amigo. Ella compró para la noche y la día.
Ay, qué bueno, mi amor.
That's the part I love right there.
Ella compró la corta baña, la traja de baño de esta corta. Enseña la barriga.
I have no idea what they're talking about.
Está pink and white.
All right, that's good. Isn't that great for the Spanish speakers out there? That's definitely Spanish, and my daughter is definitely speaking it. And I love it. I know it was a lot of the babysitter at first. And we told the babysitter, listen, whenever you're around the kids, just speak Spanish. And now they both speak Spanish. That was on the phone. She may have had some trouble hearing, but it was beautiful. And now that I do have children, you know, I do take politics a bit more seriously. And look, started to give money to the candidates I prefer. I don't have to agree with them on everything. I don't have to be in love with them. I don't have to, sanctify or condemn the wrong things and praise the right things. I can just make an assessment, including Ken Paxton, who's running for Texas, U.S. Senator from Texas. The guy he's running against, James Tallarico, is nuts, and he's getting nuttier, crazier. I think there's something really, he's just kind of a pervert, to be honest. Heard a lot of, we don't use that word enough. Perverts. They're all over the place. And James Tallarico is one of them. Are you ready there, Carlos? Hit this guy speaking at a Pride event. Go ahead.
I think if I'm thinking through the three most dangerous LGBTQ attack bills that made it through, I would say the most dangerous is SB 14, which would deny many times life-saving health care from our trans youth in Texas. And The reason that I oppose that bill is because I trust parents and doctors to make decisions for kids and not politicians in Austin. And this has been, one of the themes of this session has been parental rights and parental autonomy and parental consent. And so to see my colleagues who have been champions for parents turn around and then undermine parents in our state just because they have trans kids infuriates me, and I hope it infuriates you, and I hope you remember it when you go vote next November. Thank you. I think
what a lot of trickery there. Trickery. He tries to make it. That's good. That's good. It's parental rights. Parents don't have the right to mutilate their children. We have laws that apply to parents. Parents can't decide to exploit their children sexually. That's a crime. And parents are grasping at this transgender, some, very few, but a lot, to enhance their own status, to gain attention for themselves, and they're using kids. No transgender surgery for children, you moron. James Tallarico. You moron pervert. Sorry. I'll be right back.
The Marine Toys for Tots foster care program is bringing hope to children who need it most. Every 2 minutes, a child enters foster care, often with only a small bag of belongings. More than 400,000 children face trauma and uncertainty, many before age 8. This May, during Foster Care Awareness Month, Toys for Tots is creating Room for Joy. In 2025, nearly 375,000 children received comfort through toys, books, and essentials, reminding them they are not alone. Donate now and change a child's life.
Greg Kelly
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
There has got to be more to this story about Tim Walz and the pardoning of the creep who raped a 10-year-old girl. Please. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, Daily Mail, has pardoned an illegal immigrant who was convicted of raping a 10-year-old child. To stop him from being deported, the Democrat was part of a 3-person panel that granted clemency to Tu Lu Vang, 42, who was set to be sent back to Laos due to his horrific child sex crimes. Vang admitted to repeatedly sexually abusing the child for 4 years when he pleaded guilty to first-degree criminal sexual assault in 2006. At the time, he justified his actions by claiming it was a cultural thing to marry and have sex with a girl as young as 12. His plea, not here, pal, his plea deal allowed him to avoid jail time but face deportation, a fate he has now been spared by Walz and the other 2 members of the panel, Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison and Minnesota's Chief Supreme Court Justice Natalie Hudson. Is this disgusting or what? I always said that guy was a pervert. The move quickly sparked backlash, Homeland Security spokesman calling this disgusting. Tu Lu Vang lost his legal status following his conviction for repeatedly sexually assaulting a 10-year-old girl. DHS says that the pardon removes Vang's conviction and wipes his slate clean. Vang's pardon came after he shared a letter to the board expressing his regret over the sickening sex crimes and pleading to be allowed to stay in the United States with his wife and 6 children. And this guy gave him to it. That's one thing that it's glossed over by the fake news, and these are child sex predators and all that stuff in Minnesota. There's a big Laotian population up there. Does anybody know about that cultural thing? Possibly, but that doesn't fly here. Man, Tim Walz, thank God that man is not vice president, huh? We really did come close to the end of this country and not even seeing America 250. It's a wonderful thing that we made it. I hope we make it still to 300 and beyond.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
So something else to consider for me. This is a halfway point for 2026. This is a monumental year, of course, with the midterm elections. Hey, every year is actually monumental. And we're halfway through this one. It's like a little bit of a mini take stock. Where has the year been? Where are we going? Who have I met along the way? And one of the individuals I encountered in 2026 for the first time, and I'm sorry it's the first time because, well, she's been calling attention to this matter for a long time, and I wish I had engaged earlier, but I'm talking to Jerry Perna, and Jerry is a great woman. Her nephew was prosecuted, over-prosecuted, persecuted by the federal government for January 6th related offenses. And the government, of course, got totally and completely carried away. And a young man was driven to suicide, Matthew Perna, who had everything going for him, but the government was branding him a terrorist, and he was looking at decades in jail. It's a sad story, but Jerry Perna is picking up the pieces and inspiring me and a lot of other people. Jerry, welcome. Thanks for being here. How are you? I notice you're kind of a bit more active on social media. I love it.
And thank you for having me on, Greg. And today I'm kind of like I'm a little upset today, definitely upset. I had learned last night that another January 6th defendant has taken his life. He was 31 years old. And after learning that, somebody posted underneath a tweet of another person that I was unaware of that committed suicide earlier this year. I don't know what the death count is for suicides on January 6th, but I don't think we ever will know the true number.
Well, the only thing that we were told about post-January 6th regarding suicide was the alleged suicide of police officers who were there that day. And I always kind of knew that was a fake story. There may have been suicides, but the suicides unrelated to January 6th. Because
I agree, because if they were real, we would have heard more about them.
Yeah, and I've looked into a couple, and these people, one guy I know tried to commit suicide prior to January 6th. Suicide's a difficult subject to talk about. Tell me a little bit about Matthew Perna and the run-up, your nephew, Matthew Perna, and the run-up to January 6th.
Well, he was arrested for 4 basic misdemeanors, and he was arrested on January 18th of that year. And a week or so later, they slapped a felony charge on him and several hundred other January 6ers of the charge obstruction of an official proceeding. And that was where the nightmare began, because now he wasn't just fighting, basic trespassing and parading charges. He was fighting a felony, which carried a 20-year sentence. And so that wore on for 13 months of delays, and in his hearings, they were constantly being delayed or they were being canceled, and it wore on him greatly. And every time there was anything in the news about January 6th, his local newspaper and local news channels never missed an opportunity to drag his name and his face across the screen every single time. And when he finally had enough and he said to his attorney, "What can I do to make this end?" the attorney said, "You need to plead guilty because you're not going to receive a fair trial in D.C." So in December of that year, the end of December, he pled guilty, and he was hopefully looking at a 6 to 12 month prison sentence. And a week before his sentencing hearing, his attorney told him that the prosecutor on his case was seeking to add a terrorism enhancement, and that could carry the prison sentence to decades in jail. And 4 days later, my nephew hanged himself. So he never did make it to that hearing. And then about, I guess it was less than a year later, the Supreme Court ruled that felony charge was actually used incorrectly, and it was dropped from all the J6ers cases, but my nephew had already killed himself. So...
life is obviously hard, and we all have stress, and, people can be depressed, but, day in and day out, and then you throw this monstrosity at a normal person who has, ups and downs like everybody else. That's unthinkable, really, to be the government to come at you as if you're a terrorist.
Exactly, Greg. And, for somebody, let's say somebody like yourself, you're a public person. Everybody knows who Greg Kelly is. If there was some awful thing about your life that came out, everybody, oh my gosh, Greg Kelly. This was a person, my nephew was a nobody. Nobody knew who he was. He did not know how to handle this sudden influx of negative attention to him. He never had his attention anywhere, not positive, not negative, but all of a sudden you're thrown into the limelight and you're not prepared to handle what comes with being a public person. And Matt was just simply not capable. And none of these January 6ers were really capable of handling that thrust into this attention where it's all negative and they don't know what to do.
That's interesting. I never thought of it that way because you're right. I'm kind of accustomed to the rumble tumble of social media and beyond, and it's almost like they're talking about a different person. But if you're not primed for that, and that's been gradual over the years. I was, initially, extra sensitive. Now I'm, no, that's a very strange thing. And you're right. Wow. All right. So look, that President Trump tried to stand up a nearly $2 billion fund to compensate those affected by government weaponization. You have been affected, obviously, and your family. We can't do anything for Matthew now. That also came, at least for now, to a halt because the opposition, even Republican opposition, was enormous. I saw President Trump delivered an impassioned defense of this proposal, this idea. I think he's going to bring it back. How do you feel about that initiative? And have you heard anything about it coming back?
I've not heard anything about it coming back. I'll be honest with you, when the initiative was originally announced, I had absolutely no faith in it whatsoever. I encouraged any January 6ers who had a lawsuit against the DOJ to continue with their lawsuit and not depend on this coming out. I just did not believe this was going to happen from the get-go. I knew there would be opposition. I knew there would be roadblocks. And originally it did say it was not just for the January 6ers. It was open to anyone who was a victim of government weaponization. So that took that, however many $1 billion and, not quite $2 billion. And now you're spreading it over possibly thousands of cases. I knew it was just going to fall, and it did. And I don't feel it was enough money anyway. I do feel that the government owes these people something. I feel like they've been thrown in the trash. They don't want to talk about them. They want to pretend it didn't happen. But having somebody at 31 years old last month kill himself tells me that there are more of them. They're affected. They're not trash. They're human beings, just like my nephew was a human being. And I'm furious that they're being ignored.
Well, Jerry, the President of the United States cares. He does. He does. There was not an ounce of political pressure on him to do this. You know that. And every time he turns around, they try to talk him out of it. And John Thune. I mean, these people were going to shut down the government before they give, ignored, I think, is too strong a word. Certainly when the President of the United States is as passionate as he is and issued that pardon on day one, first night in office. I don't know. I know he hasn't forgotten. I know he hasn't. And
the pardons helped those people who were in jail and those people who had served a sentence or that were going to go to jail. The pardons basically did nothing for everybody else. Those pardons are nothing but a piece of paper. And when you Google Matthew's name on Google, it comes up that he was a January 6er, and then it comes up that he killed himself. Nowhere in there does it say he was pardoned after the fact. The pardon is just a piece of paper at this point for these people. I got a phone call 2 weeks ago, Greg, from another January 6er He was a very successful businessman before January 6th. He's living in a camper in the woods right now. His family's disowned him. He can't see his own children. And he texted me. And you know what he said to me? He said, I just want you to know that you've done everything you could. And I love you so much for all the work you did helping the January 6ers. He calls me Aunt Jerry. He says, but Aunt Jerry, I'm done. I'm at the end of my rope and I can't take any more. I just wanted to thank you one last time. I had to get on the phone and call a bunch of people that could get in contact with this man to step in and help him. And thankfully, he's still alive today. But it's affecting these people greatly. And it needs to be known.
Well, Jerry, you are a very important and eloquent voice in making this known to people who did not know about it, including myself. And I thank you for what you're doing, very much so. Jerry Perna.
Thank you, Greg, for having me on.
Of course, Perna. Jerry, you have a foundation or a website that people can go to for more information?
Yes. It is www.Matthew L. Perna Foundation.
Matthew L. Perna Foundation.com. Matthew L. Perna Foundation.com. And Perna is spelled Perna. And you can also find Jerry Perna on social media. Hey, Jerry, one thing. I only want you reading those comments if they inspire you. I mean, sometimes.
When they don't inspire me, they get the block. They get the Insta-block.
No. That means they got to you. Don't wallow in the sewer, all right? It stinks down there. Everybody knows it. You don't have to go looking for it, all right?
Okay.
I want you to, look, you're so important, and this is such an important issue. Let's stay in touch, and I'm going to check out that web page. I know my listeners will as well. MatthewLPerna.com. I'm sorry, MatthewLPernaFoundation.com. MatthewLPernaFoundation.com. And what is the mission of this foundation, please?
We have been raising money for causes that Matt would have believed in. Matt was a very generous person, and after he died, we found out of several acts of kindness he did for people that he never told anybody about. And, I mean, he helped people with finances and Christmas gifts for kids and buying meals for strangers in restaurants and just all kinds of things. So we started the foundation, and we have donated. We did a $5,000 education grant. We have a puppy right now that we're waiting for that is going to be trained to be a service dog to give to a veteran. We raised over $30,000 for this dog.
Whoa.
And we have been doing some wonderful things with it. We're a very small foundation, so all donations matter. And we have no employees. Everybody is volunteer. We have no salaries paid out. Every dollar collected is given away.
Wow.
So it's a great foundation. Like I said, we're small, but we're doing big things.
$30,000 to train that dog?
Yes. This is Guardian Angels medical dog service dogs out of Florida. They train the dog, and from the puppy all the way up, and then they bring the recipient to the facility for 2 weeks. They house them in a hotel and pay their meals. That's what this $30,000 goes to. And they train the recipient with the dog according to the recipient's needs.
I love it.
And then they fly the person down, they fly them back. So that $30,000 is not just covering the training, but we're also making sure that the recipient doesn't have to pay anything out of pocket.
I love it. And actually, that training does get very intense. I used to give to a Seeing Eye Dog Foundation way back in the day, and
yes.
I remember now. So look, Jerry Perna, thank you so much. It's the MatthewLPernaFoundation.com. Let's stay in touch. God bless Matthew Perna, and we'll be right back.
Thank you, Greg.
You bet.
Meet Timothy. Because this is radio, you can't see Timothy. You can't see that Timothy has eczema. And you can't see that he's sliding down a slip and slide with his big brother. You see, Timothy's on Dupixent, dupilumab. It helps control his moderate to severe eczema when prescription topical therapies aren't enough. And because this is radio, you can't see Timothy's clearer skin or how he's itching less. But kids as young as 6 months can see for themselves how Dupixent helps heal their skin from within and get ahead of their eczema. And it's not a cream, steroid, or immunosuppressant. Severe allergic reactions, including skin reactions, can occur. Get help right away for face, mouth, tongue, or throat swelling, wheezing, or trouble breathing. Tell your doctor right away of new or worsening eye problems like eye pain or vision changes, skin symptoms, joint aches and pain, or a parasitic infection. Don't change or stop other treatments without talking to your doctor. Dupixent helps your child feel the heal. Ask your child's eczema specialist. Visit Dupixent.com or call 1-844-DUPIXENT.
I wrote a little song to remind you, Choice Hotels get you more of the experiences you value. The Cambria Hotel's got it all. A rooftop bar, have a ball. Cocktails up here feel just right. Is Cambria amazing? All right. Bring a date, your team, or even your mom. Book direct at choicehotels.com. See you on the roof.
Looking for a protein shake that tastes as good as it performs? Meet Rockin' Protein Max. Packed with 50 grams of fuel, it'll help you keep up when your day won't slow down. And because it's always creamy and never chalky, every sip tastes great. Even better, it's lactose-free and has 0 added sugar. It's not every day you find a protein shake you actually want to finish. Catch Rockin' Protein in the dairy cooler at a store near you. Rockin' Protein and Shamrock Farms are registered trademarks of Shamrock Foods Company.
When it's time to scale your business, it's time for Shopify. Get everything you need to grow the way you want. Like, all the way. Stack more sales with the best converting checkout on the planet. Track your cha-chings from every channel, right in one spot. And turn real-time reporting into big-time opportunities. Take your business to a whole new level. Switch to Shopify. Start your free trial today.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Hello, we're back. Let's see here. It is, I love it. I love the heat, to be honest. It doesn't bother me as much as it should, probably. Let's see here. Marco. Why does this name sound familiar to me? Marco, hello?
Yeah, Mr. Kelly, it's been a while.
Oh, you. Yeah. What's up?
Yeah, two things. The first I wanted to say about when you said Trump was old. You know, yeah, he's old. I don't understand how Melania could even be next to that old-looking, nasty old man. And
all right, calm down. You realize chicks dig him. You realize that. Have you ever been in his presence? Have you ever seen him? Number one, he's tall, right? That's kind of a thing right there that girls tend to like. Number two, he's powerful. That's something else that draws women in. Number three, many people, unlike you, Marco, find him attractive. And then you throw in some power, and then you throw in some money. It's the whole gosh damn kit and caboodle. This guy has no problem with ladies. Why are you saying something nasty like that about the first lady on my show? You know I can't stand for this stuff, and I won't stand for it, Marco. That's no way to be. All right, I am curious. So what is the other nasty little thing you were going to say, planning on saying?
Yeah, it was about your daughter speaking Spanish. I'm surprised that all your MAGA followers are probably fuming when they heard your daughter speaking Spanish. Because
that's ludicrous. That's ludicrous. You know, MAGA, what? We're all about a bunch of white supremacists, you moron? Huh? And some of the greatest MAGA people happen to be people of color. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And we love people, human beings, all shapes, sizes, doesn't matter. American, you come here legally, fantastic. Welcome to the club. Welcome to the greatest country in the world. Bringing my daughter into this like that. Nasty. All right, put yourself back into exile. Now I remember why I don't like you. But I love you, Marco, which is strange. I do. I love everybody. I don't like everybody, but I love everybody. Even you, Marco, and all your nastiness. Your nastiness aside, I don't love your nastiness, but I love you. Let's see here. Jimmy, hello. Wait, there's no Jimmy? All right, let's see here. Silas. Cool name, by the way.
Let me shut this thing off. I wanted to tell you that about the Gavin Newsom. No, us black people are not as dumb as him, although he may think so.
Yeah, that was a terrible thing to say, right? That was a horrible thing to say. Stupid.
We've smartened up to his game, and we've smartened up to the Democrats' game. We are not going to voluntarily step slavery because Democrats have always been about slavery, and communism is. He can take Karen Bass and Kamala Harris with him, and like Stevie Wonder said, if you really want to hear our views, you haven't done nothing. And he's damn right, he hasn't done anything good. So if you see him, you can give him that message from me. We're not as dumb as he thinks.
I may work. I'm actually writing that big, massive essay, which is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Silas, thank you. Keep in touch, okay? Let's see. My thing just went blank. David, are you there?
Here. Yes, I'm here. Happy Independence Day, everybody. And fellow veteran, Navy, Semper Fi for the Marine Corps. For cynicism, my departed friend, Senator Jesse Helms, unfortunately, when the Panama Canal Treaty passed, Senator Helms, unfortunately, it failed by one vote. But it was then President Gerald Ford who started the proceedings to do the treaty in a cynical ploy to try to gain the general election vote of 1976, even though for historians that read up on it, Reagan barely, he almost won the nomination. So the cynicism of rhinos and the backstabbing, President Reagan was vehemently opposed to the Panama Canal being given away. And we see 26 years later with Red China trying to run the company that was doing the day-to-day operations of the canal. You said before we may end up having to buy it back or take it. I hope for everyone listening, the naivete of President Jimmy Carter and the incompetence of the Panama Canal, and then you have Noriega running around.
You got it. Hey, real quick, did you know Jesse Helms?
I knew Jesse Helms. We corresponded.
Yeah, you knew who he was. It's fascinating. All right, good points. America 250, baby. Talk tomorrow. And then Saturday is the biggest day.
Thanks for listening to The Greg Kelly Show. You can hear The Greg Kelly Show weekdays at 12:15 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
The playoffs are here, and you can predict the action all the way to the finals with FanDuel Predicts. Predict the spread, the total points, and even the game-winning moments that make the playoffs. Sign up and get a $25 bonus with FanDuel Predicts.
Offered by FanDuel Prediction Markets, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant. 18-plus bonus is non-withdrawable and expires 7 days after receipt. Trading derivatives involves significant risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Manage your activity with their consumer protection tools. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com/predicts/bonus-offer-terms.